I'm Jackson from ActionJacksonFitness.com. I'm going to talk to you today about how to properly activate your upper abdominals when you're doing your crunches for optimal abdominal shreddedness. So I'm going to talk to you about how to break down the exercise essentially. Most people when they're doing their ab exercises, especially any type of crunch, they just sort of jump into it and haphazardly, sloppily do it. It's kind of a bad approach because there's no real intention, there's no purpose, there's certainly no mind-muscle connection, and it's just sort of sloppy and shitty, to be quite honest. So it's no wonder that you're not getting the abdominal development that you want and you're not getting those shredded abs because you're not properly activating your abdominals when you're doing your exercises. So in order to do so, I like to break the exercise down into 3 parts. So when I work with clients, we talk about 3 different portions of the abdominal movement. Again, for the upper abdominals. I like to break it down to, and we're gonna start on the floor with a floor crunch. We'll start with hands across the chest. And I like to break this down to, first movement is gonna be chin to the ceiling. That's the first part of a crunch that I want you to think about. So as I start, I'm gonna go chin to the ceiling. Once my chin comes up to the ceiling, my upper back's gonna start to pull off the floor and my upper abdominals are gonna start to get active. That's the first part of the movement. The second part of the movement is going to be rounding the back. Now I know what you're thinking, I thought I'm never supposed to round my back, but when it comes to abdominal training, you have to round your back in order to properly activate those abs. If you're doing core stuff, very different. But once we're trying to take those abs to the next level and we're trying to do crunches or reverse crunches, you're gonna have to round your back in order to properly activate it. So again, first part's gonna be chin to the ceiling. Second part's gonna be rounding that back and pulling those shoulder blades completely off the floor. While I do that, I'm gonna start exhaling air. Exhaling air is going to provide a better crunch. So the more air you exhale, the better crunch you're gonna get. So chin to the ceiling, pull those shoulder blades off as I round my back, and then exhale. And the last part of the movement is gonna be pulling the navel in towards the spine, and then fully exhaling again any additional air that's still in my lungs. So let's go through each of the parts again, one more time. First part, chin to the ceiling, starts the abdominal activation of those upper abs. Second part, round the back, exhale, pull the shoulder blades off the floor. Third part, finish up the exercise by pulling the navel in towards the spine, and then fully exhaling any air that's left as you squeeze those abs. That's 1 rep. Now, what I recommend you do is start with 10 to 12 slow and controlled crunches, working on those 3 different portions of the exercise. Again, so breaking it down to those 3 different portions. Do 10 to 12 repetitions, slow and controlled, and you're gonna see a huge difference in the activation you're getting in your abdominals, in your mind-muscle connection, and you're probably going to start to notice a difference in how shredded and how good your abs look as well, which is great. Once you can get past 10 or 12, you can start to move towards 15. And once you get to 15, that's when I'd start to recommend you adding resistance to the exercise to make it a little bit harder, because now you're well on your way to six-pack success. I'm Jackson from ActionJacksonFitness.com, and this was how to properly activate your upper abdominals by breaking down the movement to 3 different sections.